And for NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg, this will be his very first spacewalk. Today's spacewalk will be the 264th spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and will be the 7th space station spacewalk this year. And this will be the 5th spacewalk for Expedition 69.
Station on 1 for step 11, time 1214.
And we copy, Frank.
And if you're just joining us this morning, we have two spacewalkers preparing to exit the International Space Station's Quest airlock to install a new ISS Roll-Out Solar Array. Those spacewalkers are NASA astronaut Steve Bowen, who you see in the center of your screen there.
Station on 1 for step 18, extended canisters are 0022 and 0020.
And copy, Frank. Good numbers.
And our other spacewalker today is NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg, who will be completing his very first spacewalk. Also in the equipment airlock is NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, as well as United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Nayati. They're continuing to step through procedures with the crew ahead of getting them into the crew airlock for the depressurization sequence. Back in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, the Orbit 2 team is ready to support today's spacewalk under the direction of Flight Director Diane Daly.
Station on 1 for step 21, time 1218.
And copy, Frank.
In addition to Flight Director Diane Daly, the rest of the Orbit 2 team is supporting here from Mission Control Houston as well. To her right at the Capcom console is the ground IV, and that is Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons. She'll serve as the spacewalk communicator who will talk directly with the crew during the spacewalk, helping them choreograph timelines and procedures. And to her right is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, who is the Capcom. You'll hear him communicating with the crew up until the point of depressurization this morning, at which point the ground IV will take over communicating with our spacewalking duo. Everything continuing to go smoothly this morning. The next major milestone that we can look ahead to is the installation of the Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue, or SAFERS, essentially the Space Jetpack. This is installed as a precautionary measure in the very unlikely event that a crew member were to become untethered from the International Space Station. This jetpack would allow them to get back to the space station. Following SAFER installation, we can look ahead to depressurization. First, the crew will move to the crew lock section of the Quest airlock, and depressurization will occur in a two-stage fashion. First, the crew lock will be taken down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure. At this point, they'll pause depressurization to do a systems check, and then
Station Houston on one.
and we are seeing Alneati and Rubio work together to install the SAFER.
Hey, Frank. I've got one go back for you. Step 8, we Ojo go. Your go to turn off the HECA. It's just, if you want to turn off HECAs on both EVs, that'd be great.
Thanks so much.
Again, Alneati and Rubio now working together to install the safer, simplified aid for EVA rescue on NASA astronaut Steve Bowen's spacesuit. And Rubio and Alneati working to get that safer installed on NASA astronaut Steve Bowen's spacesuit. For today's spacewalk, Bowen is designated EV1, and he'll be wearing the spacesuit with the red stripes, which you can see on your screen there. Woody Hoburg will be designated EV2 and will be wearing an unmarked spacesuit. Once both safers are installed, the next milestone that we can look ahead to is depressurization, and ultimately when the crew will then exit the International Space Station's Quest airlock. They'll then work together to install an upgraded International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array on the 1A power channel on the starboard truss of the International Space Station. The iROSAs were delivered on a SpaceX Dragon cargo resupply craft on Monday to the space station. Rubio and Alniati continuing to get the safer, simplified aid for EVA rescue installed on NASA astronaut Steve Bowen's spacesuit. Following installation of the safer, Bowen will be moved to the crew airlock for depress. And Bowen now being moved into the crew airlock. Next up, Rubio and Alniati will work together to get Hoberg's safer installed. And Rubio and Al-Nayati now going to work together to get the safer installed on Hoberg's spacesuit. Again, he'll be designated EV2 and he's wearing the spacesuit with the unmarked spacesuit this morning. As Rubio and Al-Nayati continue to step through those procedures to get the safer installed, we can take a quick look ahead at what's to come. Following getting the safer installed, both crew will be moved into the airlock to begin the depressurization process. The depressurization of the airlock is done in a two-stage process. First, the crew lock will be taken down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure. At this point, depressurization will be paused to do a systems check. Following this, depressurization will resume and continue all the way down to vacuum. Now, once vacuum is reached, the two spacewalkers will complete suit and communication checks before placing their spacesuit on internal battery power, which will officially mark the start of today's spacewalk. A U.S. spacewalk's start and end time is measured from the time the crew places their spacesuit on internal battery power all the way up until the time repressurization occurs, and they're back inside the crew lock following completion of their spacewalk. We are expecting today's spacewalk to last about 7 hours. And here in Mission Control Houston, NASA Flight Director Diane Daly did just pull the team of flight controllers on console, and everything is looking good. We are go for today's spacewalk. Rubio now going to work to get Bowen moved into the crew airlock. Hoburg, rather. Bowen currently is in the crew airlock already. Both Bowen and Hoburg now in the crew airlock. Once they get situated and everything looks good, we will see the hatch close and the depressurization process begin.
And Station Houston, when able, on 1.
Connect with you on 1.
Hey, Frank, we're trying to get in front of an LOS with some ground commanding. There's a couple steps that you're going to confirm later on we'd like to do early. That's step 76 and 77.
And that was the voice of...
Okay, and Nick, 76 and 77 are in good config. EMER MPEG is closed, and node 1 VAP is connected to the gamma cap.
Copy, Frank. Thanks for doing this.
And that was the voice of today's Capcom and NASA astronaut Nick Hague, calling up to Rubio, letting him know that there is a loss of signal coming up, giving them the go to step through a couple of procedures during that LOS.
And station Houston on 1. No action for you. You can acknowledge with the thumbs up. We're going to command, so you go hot mic for the EV crew. And station Houston, we're with you on 1. If you try to transmit last, I want to let you know the crew is going to go hot mic here shortly. And also, you've got to go in step 84.
Okay, Nick, copy. Crew will be hot mic'd and go on step 84. And Nick, just be advised, you're coming in a little bit weak. You're readable.
Copy all. And station Houston, you are hot mic.
DB1 copies. DB2 copies.
And copy, we've got good voice, and just let you know we're 2 minutes out for a 12-minute LOS, and you are prime IV, and your go to press.
And Nick, I copy prime IV. Go to press. Thanks so much.
And we did just hear that confirmation from the ground that the crew is go to continue depressurization. First up, they'll close the hatch, which Alnayati and Rubio are working together to do, as you can see on your screen.
The flash is coming close. Good luck. We'll see you in a little bit.
Yep, talk to you later. Thank you so much. Great job. Frank. Great job. That was awesome.
And you did see that hatch just get closed. We are in an expected handover between ground stations. So we are not going to expect to have video of the crew on board the International Space Station for the next 11.5 minutes. However, we do know that they're going to continue the depressurization process as they have the go from the ground to do so. And if you're just joining us this morning, we have 2 spacewalkers who are suited up and in the process of working through depressurization procedures. Today they will exit the station's Quest airlock to install an upgraded iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, on the 1A power channel on the starboard truss of the International Space Station. We do have an animation to walk us through what we can expect our spacewalkers to complete today, so let's take a quick look.
Is the upper iROSA's restraint bolt and installs the first of 2 handling aids called scoops, and prep for removing iROSA. Worksite. During these maneuvers, EV1 will pick up the temporarily stowed bag from the port cart and reconfigure both crews' safety ties. To the 1A mounting bracket. The crew will release the scoops, and EV2 will move into position to release the final bolt, holding iROSA in its folded position. Once released, EV1 will hold iROSA closed while EV2 egresses his foot restraint and gets into position. Both crew will then work together to unfold iROSA and secure the right side onto the mounting bracket. Once secured, EV2 will drive 2 hinge bolts that hold iROSA in the unfolded position. EV2 will then move away from iROSA to reconfigure a safety tether on the arm. EV1 works to drive 8 bolts to fully secure the iROSA to the mounting bracket. Both crew will then work to electrically connect the new iROSA to the ISS power system. They'll first attach 4 connectors to iROSA, then both will move to either side of the legacy array to disconnect the old array and connect a Y cable. This will allow power to flow from both the new iROSA and the legacy array to the space station power system. And EV2 will release the final 2 bolts restraining iROSA in the undeployed position. iROSA will deploy over the next 6 to 10 minutes. During deployment, EV1 translates back to the iROSA carrier to reconfigure the carrier beams that previously held the upper iROSA.
And that is a high-level overview of what we can expect from today's spacewalk. If you're just joining us, 2 NASA astronauts are currently suited up and in the crew airlock and are working their way through depressurization procedures. Today's spacewalkers are NASA astronaut Steve Bowen, and today will be his 9th spacewalk, as well as NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg, who will be completing his 1st spacewalk. Bowen and Hoburg will venture outside for a spacewalk expected to last about 7 hours today, the focus of which will be on the starboard truss of the International Space Station to install and monitor the deployment of one of the iROSAs, or ISS Roll-Out Solar Array, both of which were delivered on a SpaceX Cargo Dragon resupply vehicle on Monday to the space station. And today's spacewalk is the 264th in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. This is the 7th spacewalk in 2023 and the 5th spacewalk for Expedition 69. As we mentioned, it's the 9th spacewalk for Bowen, who has a cumulative spacewalking time of over 54 hours across 8 previous spacewalks. The iROSA that the crew will install today is 60 feet long and 20 feet wide. It shades a little more than half of the original or legacy arrays, which are 112 feet long by 39 feet wide. Each new iROSA produces more than 20 kilowatts of electricity, and once all the iROSAs are installed, it will enable a 30% increase in power production over the International Space Station's current arrays. And we are in a loss of signal period as we have a handover between satellites. However, we are expecting communications and video to be back here in less than a minute. During this loss of signal period, the crew has been stepping through procedures in order to work through depressurization of the airlock. This is done in a two-stage process. First, the crew lock goes down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure, at which point that depressurization will be paused to do a systems check. And then following this, depressurization will resume to bring it all the way down to the vacuum. Now, once that vacuum is reached, the two spacewalkers will complete some additional suit and comm checks before placing their spacesuit on internal battery power, officially marking the start of today's spacewalk. And pressure inside of the crew lock is about 7.27 pounds per square inch. Again, we'll pause once that pressure reaches 5 pounds per square inch.
And Station Houston on 1, we're back with you, voice only.
Nick, we have you loud and clear, copy, voice only, thanks. And Stephen, what do you guys copy? You have about 100 millimeters of mercury to go?
If you want copy. Yep, Frank, I copy. I see airlock P 6.5. Yep, I agree.
Pressure inside the crew lock now at 6.35 pounds per square inch of pressure. Now less than 6 pounds per square inch of pressure inside the crew lock. Again, once we do reach 5 pounds per square inch, that depressurization will be paused to do a systems check. Everything's still looking good for depressurization, now at 5.18 pounds per square inch of pressure inside the crew lock.
Woody, the next action is going to be for you. We have about 10 to go.
I copy, Frank, standing by.
Woody, depress pump, man ISO valve closed. Both of you can expect an alert tone.
Closed.
And copy closed. Okay, next thing we're going to do is a leak check. So you'll both take your switch display status until leak check question mark is displayed. Hold that for 2 seconds, and then follow the displayed instructions.
In work, UV1. UV2 in work.
And pressure inside the crew lock is now at 5 pounds per square inch of pressure. So you did hear those words about the systems check that are occurring now. Following the systems check, depressurization will resume and continue all the way down to vacuum. And once vacuum is reached, the 2 spacewalkers will complete some additional suit and communication checks before they place their spacesuit on internal battery power, officially marking the start of today's spacewalk. And following this, the crew will, of course, exit the airlock and begin working to get that iROSA installed.
Check complete, EV1. Moving to EVA. That'll be a minute. Same for EV2.
Copy, good. Leak check for both. Good news. And then correct, you both want your O2 actuators to EVA. Let me know when that's complete.
EV2's in EVA. EV1's in EVA.
The O2 actuator EVA for both Woody and Steve. Nice job. Woody, you're going to take the depress pump man ISO valve to open. Both of you can expect an alert tone.
Copy. Press pump man ISO valve is open.
Okay, emergency MPEV is also open. Both of you continue to monitor your suit pressure gauge. Make sure that it remains less than 5.5. Again, if it ever goes above 5.5, let us know and we'll stop the depress.
EV1 copy. EV2 copy.
Woody, the next action will be at 2 PSI.
Copy, I see it.
And those system checks looking good. Depressurization is continuing as expected. Pressure inside the crew lock now less than 4 pounds per square inch of pressure. Pressure inside the crew lock now approaching 3 pounds per square inch of pressure. And we are getting a view back inside of the equipment lock here, where NASA astronaut Frank Rubio on the left and United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Nayati continue to step through depressurization procedures with Hoberg and Bowen, who are inside the crew lock. Pressure inside the crew lock now at 2.68 pounds per square inch of pressure. Once vacuum is reached inside the crew lock, the two spacewalkers will complete additional suit and communication checks before they do place their spacesuit on internal battery power, which will mark the official start of today's spacewalk. A U.S. spacewalk start and end time is measured from the time the crew places their spacesuit on internal battery power.
And Woody, we're at 123, continuing to 103.
Copy, Frank. Thanks. You see 2.1.
Now closing in on 2 pounds per square inch of pressure inside the International Space Station's crew lock.
Okay, Woody, we're at 103. Depress pump man ISO valve closed. Closed. Copy, closed. Woody on the UIA, switch depress pump power off, OFF.
Depress pump power is off.
Okay, guys, I will turn you over to Jenny for your initial tether config. And Jenny, you are prime.
Copy, I'm prime. Ready for the config.
Sounds great. Jenny, I'm in a great position to read you the config starting at the airlock D-ring extender.
Go.
All right. Airlock D-ring extender, I have my left waist tether, gate closed, locked, block on block. The waist tether small hook is on my left D-ring extender. Gate closed, locked, block on block. Also on my left D-ring extender, I have my red hook. Gate closed, locked, block on block. My red reel and green reels are both unlocked. The red reel's yellow hook is gate closed, lock, block on block to my green reel. My green reel's small green hook is gate closed, locked on my red reel. And the green reel's anchor hook goes to Steve's right waist tether.
Okay,
and that anchor hook and Steve's waist tether large hook are both gate closed, locked, block on block. Steve, over to you if you can see it.
Yep. So we pick up with my waist tether, which is gate closed, slide lock, big hook that you just verified. The small hook is gate closed, slide lock on my D-ring extender. And then I have my safety tether, red hook, gate closed, slide lock on my right D-ring extender. The yellow hook is gate closed, slide lock to the green rail. Both reels are unlocked. I have the blank hook to my mini workstation. On my left-hand side, I have my left waist tether, gate closed, slide lock, and to my left D-ring extender, small hook, gate closed, slide lock. That's using the good config. All right, what can I see? There we go. So you need
Copy all. That
I need
is.
to get back so I can actually eventually open the hatch.
I copy all. We are in a good config.
Thanks so much, Jams, and good morning to you and the Orbit 2 team.
Good morning. We are happy to be here, excited to work with all of you.
And you are now hearing the voice of Jenny Gibbons, who is the ground IV. She'll be stepping through procedures with the crew during today's spacewalk. And that pressure inside the crew lock now at vacuum.
Woody and Steve, we're continuing the deep press here. It'll take a couple of more minutes. When the crew lock DPDT is approximately 0, expect an alert tone.
B1 copies. BB2 copies.
That pressure inside the crew lock is continuing to approach vacuum. It's now at 0.97 pounds per square inch.
Hey, you guys crushing it. Good luck out there. It's going to be fun to watch you guys do this.
Frank, we're depending on you. This is going to be good. You guys are going to work on this. It's going to work out really well.
Frank, thanks so much. You guys did a fantastic job IVing this morning. Thanks so much for everything.
Our pleasure. We'll see you in a few hours.
Everything continuing to go smoothly this morning as NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg and Steve Bowen.
We're tracking around 8 or 9 more minutes down to 0.5 psi.
And Jay, that makes sense watching it go very slowly.
Sounds good.
Again, everything going smoothly so far this morning as we anticipate the spacesuits to be switched over to battery power here shortly as soon as those comm checks and system checks are completed. Following this, the crew will egress or exit the hatch after they open the thermal cover. And we are continuing to get views inside the International Space Station. You are seeing NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, who helped get Bowen and Hoberg suited up and ready to go this morning. All Nayati now floating into screen as well. Bowen and Hoberg are inside the crew lock, which continues to depress. now at 0.64 pounds per square inch, rapidly approaching vacuum. The goal of today's spacewalk is to install an upgraded iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, on the 1A power channel on the starboard truss of the space station. Today's iROSA installation will be the 5th installed on the space station. Pressure inside the crew lock now at 0.55 pounds per square inch of pressure. And pressure inside the crew lock now at 0.5 pounds per square inch of pressure.
Steve and Woody, we are at 0.5 psi. You are go to verify the EV hatch gauge is less than 0.6 psi and open the EV hatch.
And I see the EV hatch at 0.4.
Copy, 0.4, your go.
All right, getting ready to open the hatch. All right, hatch is open. Valve is coming closed.
Copy, Steve.
Equalization valve is closed. Hatch is open, equalization valve is closed.
And we are hearing that the hatch is open. Pressure inside the crew lock now at vacuum. Both Hoberg and Bowen are now going to work together to egress or exit the airlock.
Copy, Frank. Emergency MPEV closed. Now we are in post-depress. Woody and Steve, on your DCMs, switch power to BAT, stagger your switch throws, and expect a warning tone.
All right, EV1 power to battery.
Copy. EV2, going to battery.
EV1, good restart, blank, no bite.
EV2, good restart, blank, no bite.
Copy. We verified you have a functional display. Switch power EV1 and 2 to off, OFF on the UIA.
All right, UIA, power EV1 and 2, both off.
Copy. Check power EV1 and 2 LEDs. All 4 are off, OFF.
4 LEDs off.
Copy off. Switch display to Pro to verify functional display.
EV1 switch display functional.
EV2 display functional.
Copy. 2 functional displays. You can disconnect your SCUs, install your DCM covers, and stow the SCUs in their pouches.
EV1 in work.
EV2 in work. All right, EV1, correction EV2, SCU in the pouch.
Standby, EV1 still getting his in the pouch.
Copy. EV1 and EV2 SCUs are in the pouches. On the check, depress pump menu, 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 pump.
Standby. All right, EV1, TCV's max hot.
Copy. EV1.
EV2, TCV max hot.
Copy. EV2. Switch water on.
EV1 water on.
EV2 water on.
Check DCM blank byte off.
And at 8:25 a.m. Central Time this morning, the 264th Spacewalk in support of station assembly maintenance and upgrades has begun.
Set your TCVs as desired. Report all subsequent changes to MCC.
EV1 set to 4.
And EV2 also at 4.
Copy. Both TCVs set to 4. Report suit pressure gauge.
EV1 4.2.
EV2 4.4.
Copy. 4.2 and 4.4. Set your visors as required. We have around 10 minutes till sunrise.
1 copy.
2 copies.
All right, with that, Steve, you can open the thermal cover. We'll have you stow the hook on the stiffener tether point, cinch the strap, and report Sharpie lines visible.
All right, I get my tethers back to where they belong. They were bouncing around a bit.
And we are expecting the thermal hatch cover to open momentarily.
Okay, hook is released. Connected and hold on.
And we are seeing that thermal cover begin to open.
Steve is preparing to egress. You can retrieve crew lock bag M. You'll be stowing this on your BRT and handing crew lock bag T out to Steve.
All right, Danny, sounds great.
All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines visible.
Copy, Steve. That's a good config. Egress the airlock.
All right, heading outside.
And we are seeing NASA astronaut Steve Bowen egress the airlock. He's designated EV1 today, and he'll be wearing that spacesuit with the red stripe, so he's the first out of the airlock.
My bearings here.
Steve, no rush at all, but I've got crew lock back to you when you're ready.
Okay. Just give me a second.
Bowen is still inside the airlock. He'll egress here shortly, but first he's going to hand a crew lock bag to Steve.
Yeah, I think I have my BRT ready.
Sounds good. Steve, you have the bag.
I have the bag. Is stowed on my BRT and locked.
Houston, copy.
Sounds great. Steve, awaiting your go to egress.
All right. Trying to get my others clear. Like. All right, and you have a go to egress.
Copy, go to egress, thanks.
After egress, you can both turn on your HECAs and perform buddy checks.
Copy, Johnny, thanks.
And next out of the airlock is going to be NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg, who is completing his very first spacewalk this morning. He'll be wearing the spacesuit with no stripes on it, the unmarked spacesuit, and his designation is EV2. Once both crew members are out of the airlock, they'll work to translate to their next location, but first they're going to turn the lights on their helmet cameras.
Myself down so I can see our configure.
Say again.
Both crew members now out of the airlock.
All right.
I'm gonna plan to be aft, Steve.
All right, I'm coming back around the other way then.
Sounds great. But I'm in a great spot for buddy checks if you want to do them here.
Yeah, we'll just do them here.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mike.
Houston's ready to copy buddy checks. Confirm your HECAs are on.
And I see, what are you saying this way? I see green light. Where's the other one? Your EMU TV is off.
Is it? Okay. Goodbye.
One. Keep the handle down.
right.
tab up.
Just getting my crew lock bag on.
Yep, and just...
All right, Steve. Ready when you are.
All right, let me see. One thing left to check. Oh, your lights are pretty bright. Your TV still's not on yet.
Range, I hit the button.
Oh, there it is. I see it now.
Okay.
Okay, and I see both safer handles down. I see 2 tabs up, and I see 2 green lights, and I see your lights are up.
All right, Steve, for you, I see 2 mini workstation tabs and a BRT tab, all 3 up. I see a green WVS light and a green Heca light. Your lights are on. Looking at tools and tethers. Put your bag on your BRT. And you're looking good, Steve.
All right. I am.
And let me check your safer handles. 1, 2, both down. Looking good. Starting off, my gloves look good, and I have a dry hat.
And my gloves are good, and I have a dry hat as well.
Houston copies. Good buddy checks, good glove checks, and dry haps for both of you. You can tend the thermal cover closed, and Steve, you'll be translating to the anchor hook location. I have more words for you when you're on your way.
All right, give me 1 second. Get this cover closed, and then I'll be on my way.
I got the cover, Steve.
All right.
Yeah. And Jenny, I'll have to hold on fully closing the cover for my waist tether.
Copy. Just tend to close for now. Thanks, Woody.
Copy.
And Bowen and Hoberg completed some initial checks to ensure everything is looking good on their suits. They're now going to get that thermal hatch cover closed.
Steve, I have a caution for you. Avoid contact with the deployed TUS cable.
Okay. Understand what contact with the TUS cable.
Good readback for you both for around 2 minutes to sunrise.
All right. What's my mile marker, by the way?
You're looking for the FHRC, so S1 FHRC.
Okay, on my way.
And Hoberg is getting the thermal cover closed. Meanwhile, Bowen is translating up the forward face of the truss.
Steve, that mile marker is 6300.
6300, thank you.
Once the thermal cover is closed, Hoberg is going to follow a similar translation path, but he's going to stop at the port crew equipment translation aid cart, and he's going to pick up an articulating portable foot restraint. This is going to be required for him later in the spacewalk when he steps into it on the Canadarm2.
This is where you'll place your anchor hook. It's the nadermost handrail under the FHRC. We're looking for the nader stanchion.
All right, nader stanchion. My blank hook, gate closed, slider locked. See the green reel, which is unlocked. The yellow hook is locked, gate closed, slider locked. The red reel is unlocked. See my right D-ring extender, which is gate closed, slider locked. And the green hook between the green and red wheels is gate close slider lock.
Copy. That's a good config, Steve. We need Woody's anchor hook on handrail 3247, which is the zenith handrail, just above yours.
Okay, that didn't work. Okay, Woody's hook. Gate closed, slider locked. I keep pinning back to the airlock.
Copy. That is a good load path for Woody. You can give Woody the go to release his waist tether.
And would you have a go to release your waist tether?
Steve, I copy, picking it up.
Steve, you can now translate to the FSE worksite. You'll be dropping your green hook on S3, handrail 3011, which is nadir of the port Cedar cart.
3011. Out there now.
Copy. Steve, or Woody, excuse me. Once that's complete, you can close the thermal cover.
You broke up the jams, but close thermal cover.
Copy. Woody, once that's complete, you can translate. You are headed to the crew lock bag stowage location on the port Cedar cart.
All right, Jenny, I copy. Thanks.
Steve, when ready, I have cautions and a warning for you.
Okay, stand by. All right, ready and listen.
Warning, grapple shafts and curvet coupling are no touch. And cautions, no aggressive movements or quick grabs on the FSE. Translate slowly. Wait for motion to dampen out before imparting loads. And do not contact the iROSA blankets.
All right, I understand and copy all.
And with the thermal cover closed, Hoburg is now working to translate to the flight support equipment work site. This is essentially a pallet that is currently holding the iROSAs.
Green wheel is coming to 3011. Green hook, I should say.
I copy your green hook on handrail 3011.
3011 or 3011?
3011.
Okay.
Following this, Steve, you'll be translating onto the FSE via the POA.
And the crew is running about 10 minutes ahead of today's timeline. Today's spacewalk is unique in that once the International Space Station Roll-Out Array, or iROSA, is installed, cables will need to be mated during an eclipse portion, so this spacewalk is very carefully choreographed to ensure that this timing takes place as necessary. And you are seeing this view from the helmet cam of NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg, who is completing his first spacewalk today. He's continuing to translate or make his way over to the pallet where the iROSAs are installed.
Crew log bag M on port Cedar cart nadir handrail.
He's currently at the port SETA cart where he's going to temporarily drop off one of his crew lock bags. And he's also going to pick up an APFR, an articulating portable foot restraint, which will allow him to step into and ride on the Canadarm2. Hoberg will be carrying the iROSA while he's on the Canadarm2 in order to move it over to be installed. Today's solar array will be installed on the 1A power channel on the starboard truss of the International Space Station.
"30 seconds to a short handover."
And we are in a brief expected handover between satellites, but we'll regain communications and video with the crew during their spacewalk here momentarily.
Steve, Woody, I'm back with you after the handover.
Jetty, I copy. And I see that small bushing on the lower iROSA. I'm passing it.
Copy, you have eyes on the FOD. Thanks, Steve. Woody, you will be picking up the APFR in with 3. Looks like you're already there. Should have an ingress aid.
And it does.
And this view from NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg's helmet camera as he works to pick up the articulating portable foot restraint from the port SETA cart.
Danny, just reporting the locking paddles on this ATFR is very sticky.
Copy, sticky locking collar, Woody.
Working on it. The paddles.
Copy the paddles. Woody, this is in line with what we expect for this APFR.
Okay, I'll be EE2 2CV7.
Copy, a TCV of 2 for Woody.
-7.
Copy, 7.
Firm.
All right, just confirming that the adjustable large small goes to 0008, and the integral goes to the upper handrail.
Affirm, that's right. Steve, that handrail should be 13. Once that's done, I'll take a glove inspection hap check.
All right, let's get this in place.
And while Hoberg works to secure that articulating portable foot restraint after grabbing it from the port seat of cart, we are going to hear Bowen complete a glove and hap check.
On your VRT, you're headed to the inboard ingress location.
The hap is the helmet absorption pad, and this is checked regularly throughout the spacewalk along with the gloves just to ensure that everything is performing as expected. With the articulating portable foot restraint now in hand, Hoberg is going to work to install it on the Canadarm2.
All right, I've got the integral on 0013 and the large small adjustable on 008.
Copy.
Just back up a little bit.
Woody, I have your next step, working with Frank to GCA to the published APFR install position.
All right, James, I agree. Steve, do you need the comm?
Just for 1 second, I'm going to head over to R5 on the upper. And I see it. And what are my settings there, Jenny, if I'm going to lose comm?
And Steve, can you confirm that you've picked up the PGT, left the RET on the bag, so that's now on your swing arm, and I need a glove inspection hap check.
Okay, do the glove inspection hap check first.
And we were getting a view there briefly of the iROSAs, and there we see it again here, the International Space Station Roll-Out Arrays. There's two on that pallet on the very left of your screen. One of them is going to be installed today, and the other will be installed on June 15th. We're also getting a view of the Canadarm2, which Hoberg will be utilizing today when he moves the iROSA to the 1A power channel.
Give me 1 second. All right, Jenny, I have the PGT, and you want me to leave this RET on here, correct?
Affirm, leave the RET on your swing, or leave the RET on the bag and RET swap to the swing arm RET.
All right, that's going to work. If you give me the PGT settings, I can give the comm to, please.
Bravo 2, counter 2.
Bravo 2, counter 2. All right, I'll let you know if we get contact before I've done, if I haven't done it yet.
Copy, and that was a good readback.
All right, Steve, you good? I am Jared Woody. You can have the comm. Copy, thanks.
And also in your frame there you can see a Dragon vehicle that actually brought up the ISS Roll-Out Solar Arrays. That Dragon docked to the International Space Station on Monday.
Awareness is going to be bringing the arm towards you. That is station.
Following the docking, the ISS Roll-Out Solar Arrays were removed from Dragon's trunk and placed on that pallet that you just saw there. And next, our spacewalkers are going to work to remove that first iROSA solar array by removing some bolts and working through some procedures to loosen it up before it can be hand carried by Hoberg on the robotic arm.
Half a meter to go.
Continue.
Copy, continue. $20 to go.
Continue to publish.
10 to go, continuing to publish. And ramping out. Okay, Woody, that is our published position. How's that looking?
All right, Sultan, can you please give me 50 centimeters station nadir?
Copy, Woody, half a meter station nadir in work.
Thank you. I see good motion.
Copy, good motion. Okay, 30 centimeters to go.
Continue.
Continuing. Okay, ramping out. Okay, Woody, that is half a meter station nadir.
Copy, Sultan. That is GCA complete. That's a perfect position.
Right, copy, GCA complete, and brakes are coming on.
Copy, brakes on. And I'll be installing the APFR.
Woody, we're looking
That's
for...
affirmative. You are go to install the APFR.
Woody, we're looking
Copy,
for
go.
a clocking of 12.
Copy, clocking 12, and I already confirmed Papa, Fox 6 set.
Good settings. Steve, I'm back with you.
Thanks, Jim.
About 5 turns, 502, counterclockwise 2, and releasing R5.
Copy, the boat will spring out when fully released, and you'll see a white line indicator. Expect 18 to 20 turns.
Hoberg continuing to step through procedures to get that articulating portable foot restraint installed on the Canadarm2. This articulating portable foot restraint, or APFR, allows him to click his spacewalking boots into it so that he can ride aboard the Canadarm2. He'll be carrying the iROSA while he does so.
Any APFRs installed in the arm. Clocking at 12, Papa, Fox 6. Colors black on black, good pull twist test, and the pitch knot can be depressed.
Copy, Woody. Good checks. Now we'll need you to perform a safety tether swap to the arm. Let me know when your yellow hook is on the SSRMS tether point, and I'll take your checks.
All right, sounds good, Jenny.
All right, that bolt is released. I got 27 turns. I let it do a couple of bumps so that it would verify that it was clear.
Copy, 27 turns, and the bolt is fully released. Can you see a white line indicator?
And there's a white line indicator.
Copy, you can stow your PGT.
And we are currently in an expected handover between our satellites. We do have communications with the crew, however, we do not have video at this moment, but we'll regain it.
Copy, translate to stanchion Bravo.
Hoberg has completed installing the APFR on the robotic arm.
All right, Jenny, my yellow hook is gate closed locked, black on black for the SSRMS tether point. Green hook is stowed on mile marker 6360, and that green reel is unlocked.
Copy, Woody. That is a good config. Ensure that Steve's tether is clear of your green hook, and then you can work with Frank to get to the ingress position.
All right, let me get eyes on Steve's tether. It's well clear. And I am in a great config for APFR ingress. No GCA needed.
Okay, Woody, we are copy, and brakes are still on. You are go for APFR ingress.
Copy, brakes on, go for ingress. Thank you, Sultan.
Woody, you need to attach a waist tether to the ingress aid.
Yep, in work, Jams. Thanks.
And Steve, say again if I missed a call from you.
I'm at Station Bravo.
And Hoburg has successfully gotten that articulating portable foot restraint installed on the Canadarm2. He's now going to work to click his boots into the articulating portable foot restraint and ingress it. This will allow him to fly on the Canadarm2. And you are seeing him work to ingress that APFR on your screen right there.
Alright, low iROSA R5. Alright, so I've got Bravo 2, counterclockwise 2, going to R5, and looking for full release and a white indicator.
Good word, Steve. Expect 18 to 20 turns I have written here.
Alright, 18 to 20 turns. Okay.
And Steve, I'm going to look for the comm again when you have a chance.
Hey, you can take the call.
Thanks. It's Sultan. I'm ready for truss back off.
All right, copy. Woody, you are ready and brakes are coming off.
Copy, brakes off.
Woody, check your tools and tethers are clear. We need you to confirm that.
Thanks, James. Yep, tools and tethers are all clear.
Copy. I agree. You are go to proceed. Woody, we also are hearing that your left safer handle might be up. We need you to check both of them.
Got it. Your team was correct. And both safer handles are down.
Copy. Both safer handles down on Woody. Thank you. You guys are doing great on time.
Right, Woody, ready when you are. We're going to bring you first station forward about 80 centimeters and then station later 3 meters and 60 centimeters.
Ron, I'm ready for all of that. You go.
Then starting motion, station forward.
Good motion, Sultan.
Copy, good motion.
And as you can see on your screen now, Hoburg now being moved while in that articulating portable foot restraint on the Canadarm. That Canadarm is being operated by United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Nayati, who is inside the International Space Station. Hoburg is going to be translated to a better position to help NASA astronaut Steve Bowen remove some bolts and an anti-rotation device which will enable the iROSA to be released from the pallet. Following this, Hoburg will hand carry it while on the Canadarm2 over to the 1A worksite.
Okay, 2 meters to go.
Continue.
Okay, continue. Okay, 1 meter to go.
And this view from NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg's helmet cam as he is on the Canadarm2. Looks like he's taking this opportunity to get some truly out-of-this-world photography.
And ramping out.
That looks good, Sultan.
Okay, Woody, just a heads up. Next, we're going to take you to the Volt Axis join OCAS. That'll be 2 minutes and a half.
I'm ready for that. Okay, thanks, Sultan.
Okay, Kenny, I've got Bravo 3, counterclockwise 2 set up. There were 20 turns on the lower iROSA with a good white band.
Copy, I release. I understand R5 on the lower iROSA is released with 20 turns. You should be pretty much at the bolts for C2. We are going to work on releasing these anti-rotation devices. So you can attach an adjustable equipment tether and from your small trash bag to the ARD tether point.
Okay, let me get that done.
You are ready when you are for the join OCAS.
I'm ready, Sultan, thanks.
Then starting motion.
Copy. Good motion, Sultan.
Good motion.
And Hoburg continuing to be moved on the Canadarm2. Meanwhile, Bowen is working with the pistol grip tool, or PGT, to release bolts. This is a restraint bolt. Next up, he's going to work on releasing the anti-rotation devices. All of this is in preparation for ultimately removing the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array from this carrier, this pallet that it is temporarily stowed on. And as Hoburg continues to make his way over to his first work site, the International Space Station is currently flying 258 statute miles off the coast of Nova Scotia over the North Atlantic Ocean.
Woody, we need you to repower your HECA.
Copy. Power off, then power back on. You got it. Oh, actually, Jenny, I just pressed the power button and I see a green light, so it should be on now.
Yes, we just needed you to power it on. That's correct. It was knocked off earlier.
Okay, copy.
Getting a really great view here of Woody Hoburg in the articulating portable foot restraint.
Counterclockwise 2.
Good readback.
The 10 turns, correct?
Yes, 10 turns only. A reminder, these are not captive, so we only want to release 10 turns.
10 turns only.
And in Hoberg's hand, you can see the PGT, or pistol grip tool. This is essentially the space drill. It's going to be utilized a lot throughout today's spacewalk, first to remove the iROSA from the pallet and then to reinstall it on the 1A power channel.
Copy. Thanks, James. Good reminder. I have Alpha 4 counter 2 set for R1 and R2.
Those are good settings, Woody. It doesn't matter to us which of these bolts you do first, but the bolt will spring out when it's fully released. You have the same settings for both of them.
Copy, thanks.
All right, I get 8.8 turns.
Copy. That was 8 turns.
Let's see if I can.
Steve, and you can remove the ARD, and then we'll be torquing back this bolt.
All right, pulling the ARD off.
Second, Sultan, I'm ready for
I'm off the
Okay, Woody, we need a few seconds to set up our values here.
Take your time.
Yeah, that ARD is removed.
Copy. ARD removed. Your settings are Bravo 1 clockwise 2, and you'll be driving this stop block bolt to torque.
Bravo 1 clockwise 2. That's set.
Good settings.
Bravo. One clockwise 2.
Woody, ready for the next motion? So it's going to be body N, meter and 60 centimeters.
Tom, that sounds great. You go for that motion.
Copy. Go and start the motion then.
We are 48 minutes into today's spacewalk, and NASA astronauts Steve Bowen and Woody Hoberg are continuing to work together to remove bolts from the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array in order to release it so that it can be carried on the Canadarm2. To step through the next set of procedures is I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Anna Schneider, who's going to step through the next set of procedures with you.
On the torque. That's all right. Yeah.
Okay, 1 meter to go, Woody.
Continue.
Continue.
All right, Steve, I copy 11 foot-pounds and a green light. Could you say turn count again?
Turn count was 0.5.
Half a meter to go.
Continue.
Copy, continue.
We're just checking on those turns, Steve.
The bumper rolled on top of the mount. You might not get as many turns as you might have expected.
Okay, Sultan, stop motion.
But you can look at it. It's on there nice and snug.
Woody, we are in the public position and you are go for unbolting.
See where it's on there.
Copy,
It's not turning. It's on the bump. It's on the mount. It didn't go past the mount. You see it?
Now you can see NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg beginning to release the R bolts.
All right, Steve, I'm sorry, one more time. We're going to have you say what you saw on those turns and whether you...
The bolts that Hoberg is working on are on the boom end of the upper iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array. The first 2 bolts will allow the boom deployment system rollers to be moved into place to help with the array deployment later in the spacewalk.
And we see you rotating the deployment system.
End of the upper iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array. The first two bolts will allow the boom deployment system rollers to be moved into place to help with the array deployment later in the spacewalk.
And we see you rotating the deployment system.
Bolt sprung out, and it was 9.5 on R2.
Copy, 9.5. That is a good bolt release, Woody. We need you to access R3 and R4 next. You can GCA if you need to. I have new settings for you, and as a reminder, these will be the 245 turn bolts, so we need you in a good body position.
You just heard confirmation that Woody Hoberg successfully released 2 of the bolts, and he's moving on to the second set.
And Woody, we are ready.
Okay, Sultan, half a meter station, correction, half a meter body down.
And we copy half a meter body down. Okay, starting motion.
Copy. Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
You're hearing some conversation between NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg and UAE astronaut Sultan Al-Niyadi, who is inside the space station operating the robotic arm as he moves Woody Hoberg down a little bit to access the next set of bolts.
Okay, you can ramp out.
Stopping out. Motion stopped.
GCA complete.
Copy, GCA complete.
Steve, once in position, you can tether to the ARD tether point, and then I have settings for you for the stop block bolt.
Complete. And I'm ready for settings.
Bravo 3, counter 2, 10 turns only.
Bravo 3, counter 2.
And Jenny, I have Alpha 3, clockwise 3 for R3.
Copy Alpha 3 for clockwise 3. Verify your PGT turn count is 0.
Confirm it's 0.
Copy PGT turn count is 0. You can release R3.
Copy. Starting turns.
Copy, Woody.
The second set of bolts that Woody Hoberg is currently working on will release 2 of 4 mechanisms that hold the ISS Roll-Out Solar Array in its rolled-up configuration. When folded, the iROSA measures approximately 10 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet.
Got 8 turns, and it's loose. Pull the ARD.
Copy 8 turns on the ARD, or on the stop block bolt, you can remove the ARD.
That's removed, the ARD is removed. Ready for settings to drive back in.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
30 seconds from short handover.
While NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg continues to work on those bolts, NASA astronaut Steve Bowen continues to work on the anti-rotation device.
Copy, Steve. You've driven the stop block bolt, 12.1 torque, 7 turns, and a green light. Steve, I'm back with you after the handover, 12.1 torque, 7 turns and a green light. You can stow the ARDs in the crew lock bag.
All right, heading over there.
NASA astronaut Steve Bowen has released both of the ARDs, or anti-rotation devices, and will begin stowing them in his crew lock bag. Here on the screen, we continue to see NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg work on releasing the second set of bolts on the boom end of the upper iROSA.
All right, ARDs going in. And I think I pull out the socket caddy.
Affirm, Steve. Those are good words. We need the 5/8 12-inch wobble on your PGT, and you can stow the 7/16 on the socket caddy.
All right, and I'll put that in work. ARDs nice and stuffed in here.
Copy.
Jenny, 245 turns, R3, turkey timer popped out.
Copy. 245 turns on R3 with the turkey timer popped out. Your settings are alpha 3 turns on R3 with the turkey timer popped out. Your settings are alpha 3, counter 3 for R4.
Alpha 3, counter 3, set 0 turns on the PGT.
Here go.
Starting turn.
NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg is currently working on the last of the 4 bolts. These last 2 bolts release 2 of 4 mechanisms that hold the iROSA, or ISS Roll-Out Solar Array, in its rolled-up configuration.
The 12-inch wobble is good pull test on the center caddy, going for the 5/8 12-inch.
Steve, I copy a good pull test on the 7/16 12-inch on the socket caddy.
That's correct. All right, good pull test on the 12-inch 5/8 wobble on my PGT.
All right, and good pull test on the 5/8-inch, 12-inch on your PGT. Steve, now we will be breaking torque on the iROSA FSE bolt. You can translate to bolt Charlie 1, which is stanchion Charlie. Should be right next to you.
Charlie 1 right next to me. All right, there's Charlie 1.
We'll be breaking torque on this bolt, less than half a turn. Your settings are Bravo 3, counter 2.
Bravo 3, counter 2.
Good words.
And I will get myself in a good position. All right, Bravo 3, counterclockwise 2.
Good words.
Less than half a turn, correct?
Affirm. And big picture for all crew, we are about a minute and a half from an LOS. We have voice comm for the first 5 minutes, and for the last 5 minutes, I'm still prime IV. I will hand over to Frank when I need to.
And Jenny, if you want copies, and I had 0.54 turns on C1.
Copy. Torque broken
Jenny,
on C1.
copy.
You can translate to C2.
Jenny, I copied R4 release 245 turns, turkey timer out.
Copy, Woody. Great job. R4 release, 245 turns, and you see the turkey timer. You can work with Frank to move to the carrier back off.
You just heard confirmation that NASA astronaut Woody Hoburg finished releasing the 4th bolt. That bolt was holding the iROSA in its rolled up configuration.
Woody, and this is basically will bring you body out 1 meter 60 centimeters, and that is station forward.
You also heard them reference something called a turkey timer. That is basically just a status indicator to ensure that the bolts are fully released. We are now in an expected handover that will last about 15 minutes. We are currently about 1 hour and 5 minutes into today's spacewalk. It began at 8:25 Central Time this morning, 9:25 a.m. Eastern Time, when the spacesuit switched to battery power. Steve Bowen, who is EV1 with the red stripes, egressed the crew lock and received a crew lock bag, and then EV2, who is Woody Hoburg, followed him shortly after. Bowen then translated up the forward face of the truss and went starboard, configuring his safety tethers on the way, and then Hoberg followed a similar path, but went to the port crew equipment translation aid, or CETA cart, to temporarily stow his bag and retrieve the articulating portable foot restraint. Bowen then translated to the iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array carrier, stowed his bag, and retrieved the pistol grip tool. Bowen began preparing the iROSA for removal from the carrier, first releasing a restraint bolt on the upper iROSA. Meanwhile, Woody Hoberg relocated the foot restraint and installed it on the space station's robotic arm. From there, Woody Hoberg ingressed the foot restraint, and then the arm moved him away from the truss and towards the work site. Bowen translated to the lower iROSA and released its first restraint bolt, and then released both anti-rotation devices on the upper iROSA and stowed them in the crew lock bag. While on the robotic arm, Woody Hoberg was flown over to access two different sets of bolts on the boom end of the upper iROSA. The first two bolts allowed the boom deployment system rollers to be moved into place to help with the array deployment later in the spacewalk, and then the second two bolts released two of four mechanisms that hold the iROSA in its rolled-up configuration. The goal of today's spacewalk is to install an iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, to augment power generation for the 1A power channel on the space station's starboard truss. The new solar arrays measure 60 feet long by 20 feet wide once they're deployed, and shade a little more than half of the original solar arrays, which are 112 feet long by 39 feet wide. Each new iROSA produces more than 20 kilowatts of electricity, and once installed will enable a 30% increase in power production over the station's current arrays. There's about 6 minutes left in this 15-minute loss of signal before we'll return to seeing Steve Bowen and Woody Hoberg working on today's spacewalk. Once we're back, we'll see Steve Bowen working on releasing the upper iROSA restraint bolt and installing the first two handling aids called scoops in preparation for removing the iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, from the carrier. Currently aboard the International Space Station, we have the Expedition 69 crew, which includes NASA astronauts Frank Rubio, who is inside the space station helping with today's spacewalk. Also inside the space station is UAE astronaut Sultan Al-Niyadi and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin. And then, of course, our spacewalkers today are NASA astronauts Steve Bowen and Woody Hoberg. Here in the room, we have Flight Director Diane Daly at the helm, and she goes by the call sign Horizon Flight. And then serving as the prime ground IV, we have Ginny Gibbons. There's about 1 minute left in this loss of signal, and then we'll quickly return to seeing what Woody Hoberg and Steve Bowen are progressing. Today's spacewalk is the 264th spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the 7th spacewalk out of the space station for this year.
Todd, I'm ready to continue.
You have 40 centimeters to go. Start with
Good motion.
good motion.
So during that loss of signal, Steve Bowen released the upper iROSA restraint bolt and installed the first 2 handling aids called scoops in preparation for removing the iROSA from the carrier.
Clear, continue.
You can now hear some discussion between NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg, who is on the Canadarm Robotic 2, and UAE astronaut Sultan Al Niyadi, who is inside the space station, maneuvering the arm.
How's that looking, Woody? Do you want any further GCA?
Yep, assessing. Stand by. Tom, could I please go body down about 20 centimeters?
They are flying Woody Hoberg to the hinge end of the upper iROSA. Once there, both Woody Hoberg and Steve Bowen will work to remove the final bolt holding it to the carrier, and then Steve Bowen will install a second scoop, and Woody Hoberg will then lift it off of the carrier.
Holding.
And Sultan, that's a great spot. GA complete.
Copy, GCA complete, and that was 15 centimeters body down.
Perfect.
We copy GCA complete. Woody, attach a RET to the scoop, which is on iROSA.
Okay, James, I have a RET on the scoop on iROSA, left side.
Copy. Warning for both of you.
Okay, Jenny,
Steve, go.
I have the first scoop on my mini workstation. It's a long duration tie down tether. Do I need to bring the RET with that, or do I leave the RET? Transfer to Woody's RET. And be adjustable as well.
You can leave the RET. You'll stow it on your mini workstation, and Woody will use a RET from his mini workstation in order to tether to it.
Okay, so understand.
We can get ahead on our checks here. So a warning for both of you, do not release C1 until I give you the go.
Copy. Copy.
I'll take a glove inspection and hap check from Woody.
There's no change to the gloves. App is dry. I can also report visor down, glove heaters on, TCV set for reference.
Copy. Good glove inspection and HAP check. Cooling, visor, glove heaters are set. Check gauntlets down.
They're both down.
Check tools and tethers are clear, and your ingress aid is clear.
Tools, tethers, and ingress aid all clear.
Check heels secure in the APFR.
Yeah, and James, did you guys happen to get eyes on my heels just for positive confirmation there? Or can Steve see them?
Checking. Woody, we do not have eyes on your feet, but Steve could potentially check if you need.
Hold on, it's going to take a bit to rotate here.
Okay, I'm feeling quite confident, so
I think you look pretty good, Woody. I think they're in.
Yeah, I agree. All right, heels are secure, James. Thanks.
Copy, Woody. Those are good checks. We will pause here.
Copy.
And Kenny, when I transfer, I am not transferring the adjustable to Woody, just the scoop and the long duration tie down feather, and I keep the adjustable with me to pick them up later, correct?
Checking, Steve.
I think it's just a scoop and a long duration.
I do too, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. So there's
the...
no requirement to take the adjustable with you. You can have it if you want, but we just need the scoop and the long duration tie down tether bundled together and the ret swap to Woody's mini workstation.
Okay. Understand. And Woody, if you have a rat, I can give you...
I sure do. Here's a rat. I don't know if you can reach me. Oh, yeah, you can send that over here.
I got several things on there right now, so...
Okay. See it? So goals to get this rat on the scoop?
Yeah.
Okay, it is on, so scoop.
Okay, you can release that adjustable then.
You got it.
Keep the long duration.
Is coming back.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let me get that clipped on here. And I will get set up.
Copy. We have a couple of additional checks here as well. We need a glove inspection and HAP check from Steve and a buddy check of each other's helmets for signs of water.
You have your visor down. Yeah, see in your helmet?
Actually, stay right there, Steve. Okay, I have a good view into Steve's helmet. I can see his HAP and his HAP absorption band, and I see no signs of water.
I agree.
Copy.
Steve, I'll flip my visor up for you.
And I see no signs of water. I see your helmet absorption band and no indication of water. Looks good.
Great.
My gloves are the same. They're still good, and my HAP is dry.
Copy. We have good checks. And as a reminder, Woody, we track you holding that scoop at this time. It needs to be redded to you, but Steve needs to be holding it. He will be the one installing it after C1 release.
Yep, concur.
All right, let me get it good hold for it right here. Thank you.
Yep.
We are now about 1 hour and 27 minutes into today's spacewalk. Before Woody Hopeberg and Steve Bowen remove the final bolt holding the iROSA to the carrier, they're performing a series of glove and HAP checks.
You are both doing great on time. We are an hour up.
All right, copy that.
All right, great, James. Thanks.
All right, next as written, I have Steve releasing Charlie 1 fully. Woody, you are going to maintain control of iROSA as he releases that bolt and installs the scoop.
Okay, Jan, sounds good. I've got iROSA.
All right, I need settings.
Bravo 3, counter 3, fully release C1. The bolt will spring out. Expect 26 turns.
Bravo 3, counterclockwise 3, and about 26 turns, and bolts should spring out. All right, that's starting right now.
Good words.
You just heard the ground IV here in the room, Jenny Gibbons, speak with the NASA astronauts outside the space station, Woody Hoberg and Steve Bowen. They were given the go to release the iROSA. So both crew members are now working to remove the final bolt holding the iROSA to the carrier. Bowen will then install a second scoop while Hoberg lifts the iROSA off of its carrier.
All right. I've got 27 turns. To come off. I think I need to turn a few more, but not 3 of this bolt.
Copy, 27 turns,
So
going for more.
Turns. Right now, that seems very loose. Again, additional 10 turns. How does it feel, Woody?
Yeah, I think it feels, yeah, quite loose.
Okay. Just go with PGT and get the scoop in place.
That's great.
Good words.
All right, I have the scoop locked on, and I hope that's a good config, Woody.
That's great, Steve. I have iROSA.
You have iROSA.
Ground copies, we agree we're in a good config. Steve, we need you at the grapple tower to assist with this GCA. Make sure iROSA clears the grapple fixture, and I have cautions and a warning for both of you when ready.
All right, I am in a good position to watch clearances from the grapple fixture, and ready for warnings.
Caution, prior to removing iROSA, ensure the FSE is not moving. Steve, you stay still on the FSE during the release. And warning, don't put your fingers in or around any of the pin slots mounted on the inside and outside of the root beam. With that, I will let you work together to release iROSA. To do that, Woody, you will be sliding iROSA away from you to release from the FSE pin slot interface.
Okay, James, I believe that has already happened.
I think so, too.
Copy.
I still have control of it. We're looking good.
All right.
Ready for GCA.
Your go to work with
Steve,
Frank.
over to you for GCA.
All right, Frank, if you're ready, I'm ready for the iROSA back off position. I've got a good eye on the tower, and I'm looking for this to go straight. And Woody, it's drifting a little bit toward the tower. You want to bias it a little back. Okay, that's fine. Good. Ready to go, Frank.
Right, Steve, we copy, and for this motion, we expect about 4 meters, and for Woody, it's going to be bodied down.
Okay. Great.
And we are starting motion.
You heard confirmation that NASA astronaut Steve Bowen has installed the second scoop onto the carrier, and Woody Hoberg has lifted it off of the carrier. There will now be several maneuvers with Hoberg on the robotic arm, and then he will arrive at the 1A mod kit worksite. During these maneuvers, Steve Bowen will pick up the temporarily stowed crew lock bag from the port cart and reconfigure both of his safety tethers on his way to meet Hoberg at the mod kit.
We are clear of the pin. Continue.
Continuing, we have 3 meters to go.
Continue.
I'll continue.
Houston copies. Since we are clear of the grapple tower, and this is a procedure to published position, I'm going to pick up comm with Steve. Steve, perform a socket swap. I need the 5/8 12-inch wobble on the socket caddy and the 2-inch from your trash bag on your PGT.
Understand, the 5/8 going to the socket caddy, the 2-inch from my trash bag coming on my PGT.
Good words. I'll take pull tests for everything, and then you will be cleaning up the crew lock bag with everything inside of it, doors facing the FSE.
Understand.
From this view, you can see NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg attached to the space station's robotic arm as he moves away with the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array.
Meters published.
Continue.
Are we continuing? And ramping out.
Copy.
Okay, that is the public position, Woody, and just a heads up, our next motion is going to be the iROSA pitch join of all counts of 2.5 minutes.
Copy, Sultan, I'm ready. Okay, Jenny, I have a good pull test on all 3 sockets on the socket caddy. I'm going to stow them in the crew lock bag first before I do my 2-inch.
I copy, Steve. You have completed the pull test, correct?
That is correct. And all 3 of the sockets on the socket caddy, that's complete.
Copy. Again, you can stow that socket caddy. We'll have the crew lock bag buttoned up with the doors facing the FSE and the adjustable equipment tether cinched.
Understand.
NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg continues to make his way on the robotic arm with the iROSA to the 1A mod kit worksite.
Okay, so on the outside of the crew lock bag, I should have the needle nose, the wire tie, and an adjustable. And then I need a small adjustable attached to the lower handrail. And then this rat should come with me if I'm reading this correctly. Is that correct? There should be no rat on the outside?
That ret can go into the bag, Steve.
Understand. I'll just put it in the bag.
On the left side of your screen, you can see the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Steve Bowen. He is currently working to pick up the temporarily stowed crew lock bag from the port cart and reconfigure both of his safety tethers on his way to meet Woody Hoberg at the mod kit. Once they both arrive at the mod kit site, both crew will then work to install the iROSA onto the 1A mounting bracket.
And we are ready for the iROSA pitch join OCAS, and we will give you a countdown before we start. And just remember the pitch maneuver.
Ron, that's perfect. I'm ready.
All right, then starting join OCAS in 3, 2, 1. Starting motion.
Okay, lower small cinch down. Okay, to the upper stanchion. And then set the back facing the stanchion.
Copy, Steve. Great work. Once complete, you can translate off of the FSE via the POA.
All right. Setting off the... Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do my 2-inch transfer when I stop again. I still have the 2-inch in my trash bag. Didn't put it on the PGT yet.
We need that 2-inch on your PGT, Steve.
I understand. I'll get it when I stop.
Okay, that sounds great. You can do that at the mud kit.
I have to go pick up the bag and got Woody's tether.
A-firm, your first step once you are off of the FSE is to retrieve your green hook from 3011.
Good. I'll do that then, right there.
Our next motion is going to be an outboard join OCAS of 3 minutes.
Find that copy, and I'm ready.
All right.
We are starting motion for the join OCAS for the EV outboard.
Okay, I'm ready. Another countdown would be great.
Copy. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Good motion.
Good motion.
Currently on your screen, you can see NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg as he is on the space station's robotic arm, moving the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array to the 1A mod kit worksite. Today's spacewalk is the 264th spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the 7th spacewalk out of the International Space Station for this year. Today's spacewalkers are NASA astronauts Steve Bowen and Woody Hoberg. They are working to install an iROSA, or International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array. This will augment the power generation for the 1A power channel on the station's starboard truss structure. The new arrays, once unfurled, measure approximately 60 feet in length by 20 feet wide, and they shade a little more than half of the original arrays. Each new iROSA will produce more than 20 kilowatts of electricity, and once installed will enable a 30% increase in power production over the station's current arrays. This spacewalk is the 9th spacewalk for NASA astronaut Steve Bowen and the 1st spacewalk for NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg.
Copy. The 2 inches installed on your PGT with a good pull test.
And just heads up, with the next motion is going to be an IA lineup for 4 hour, and expecting 3 minutes.
Sultan, sounds great. I'm ready.
All right, green hook is retrieved.
Copy. Steve, you have your green hook. After this, you'll get the bag and Woody's green hook.
All right, picking up the bag and Woody's green hook.
Good words.
Okay, Woody, we are ready to start the motion, and this will put you in lineup position under the IEA.
All right, Sultan, I'm ready.
Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1. Start the motion.
Motion.
Copy, good motion.
Steve and Woody will be in installation in about 2 minutes.
Hey, my copy.
Thanks, James.
We are now about 1 hour and 48 minutes into today's spacewalk. We are actually about an hour ahead of the scheduled timeline. Once they arrive at the mod kit site, they will begin the process to install the iROSA onto the 1A mounting rocket.
On my BRT. And releasing it from the ski coach.
Copy, Steve.
During the installation process for the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, the crew will release the scoops, and Woody Hoburg will then move into position to release the final bolt holding iROSA into its folded position. Once released, Woody Hoburg will hold iROSA closed. Once released, Steve Bowen will hold iROSA closed while Woody Hoburg egresses or exits his foot restraint and gets into position. Both crew will then work together to unfold iROSA and secure the right side onto the mounting bracket. Once secured, Woody Hoburg will then drive 2 hinge bolts that iROSA into the unfolded position.
Bag stowed. Going to retrieve Woody's.
Copy, Steve. Woody's green hook is at around mile marker 6300.
6300.
Affirm, it'll be on 6360 exactly.
Heading back that way. See his green hook.
Copy.
And Woody, we are ready. For you go for the GCA to publish iROSA install.
Sultan, I'm ready. I see body left.
That's affirmative. We are expecting a first motion of body left, and it's going to be 2 meters, 40 centimeters, and then followed by a body up, and that is 70 centimeters.
Okay, sounds great, Sultan. I'm ready.
And I have Woody's green reel on my right waist tether. Now I'm going to translate out to F4.
Copy, Steve. And I might have missed it, but I need to check that reels are unlocked and your gauntlets are down.
All right, reel is unlocked. Gauntlets are down. I'm going to start my translation.
Copy. Like you said, you're headed to the S4 IEA. I have words on where to attach Woody's green hook when you're ready.
All right, I'll give you a call in a minute.
And Woody, we are ready to start motion body left in 3, 2, 1.
On the big loop, for all crew, do not start this next motion. Stand by 1 while we sync up on the ground.
Copy, ramping out, and then standing by.
That was good motion, Sultan, but hold position now.
More information for all of you on that call. Everything is looking like it's in good shape. You guys are doing great on the timeline. Since we are ahead, we want to hold and get all crew in position. That means we'll have time for Steve to drop the green hooks and get in a good position by the mounting bracket before we go to the install position. From there, we will push with the procedure as written.
Hold your Woody, be waiting on me.
You're doing great, Steve. Thanks for doing all the work while I just ride the arm.
And IV crew copies.
All right, great job, everybody.
From this view, you can see both astronauts working on today's spacewalk. In the upper right-hand side of your screen, you see NASA astronaut Steve Bowen as he works to configure some safety tethers and work his way over to the mod kit site to meet Woody Hoberg. And then a little bit further down is NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg aboard the International Space Station's robotic arm, holding on to the International Space Station Roll-Out Solar Array, or iROSA, as he makes his way to the mod kit site.
I get my bearings here.
Copy, Steve.
All right, give me 1 second.
You're looking for hand...
So I'm looking for which handrail number for his screen?
2219.
And I'm ready to 2219. I'm ready to drop this hook here. Give me a moment.
Copy. And you'll be fair leading Woody's tether around the outside edge of the IEA.
The outside edge of the IEA for his fair lead. Copy.
Good words.
And Steve, just for awareness, I'm right behind you and a little to the left.
All right. All right, your green hook is now on 2219. And I release my base tether.
Copy. Good words, Steve.
Handing back, and it looks clear of my tether.
Good words. And confirm the reel is unlocked.
And his reel is a big U, unlocked.
Good config, Steve. You can continue on your translation path. Your next step is to drop your green hook, handrail 2218.
2218, heading down to 2218.